Takeshi Kurenari. I was in the center of a world of blue, headed back to the mainland. There was nobody on the boat besides us. Me, Hokuto, Tsukumi, Yubusai, Harukana, Sora, Koko, Kaburaki, Chami, Pippi, oh, and the two girls called Yubusai Akikana Tanaka and Sarah Matsunaga. Altogether 9 people and 2 animals. I slipped in a short distance away from everyone and leaned over the deck railing to look out at the expansive ocean before me. The May sun sparkled in the ocean. High above, stretched a clear blue sky. The fresh, new sky looked so glossy and vivid that it might spill down to earth at any moment. It was all that was reflected in my eyes. A straight line of the horizon stretched into the distance, dividing the sea from the heavens. I murmured to myself. A solitary seagull traced a gentle arc in the sky as the wind carried it away. The wind, full of the smell of the ocean, gently blew by me. It felt as if I were dreaming. Everything that I saw in the scene before me was exactly how it had been 6 days earlier. 6 days earlier. For me, it had only been 6 days. Not even a week had passed. I had got separated from my friends that day, and I ended up waiting by myself for an elevator. But after surviving for 6 days, I've been sucked 17 years into the future. And yep, he has 2 children now. I found out that I had a 16-year-old daughter and a son. It was a dream. Yeah, that's right, I must be dreaming. If I'm not dreaming, there's no way this could be happening. The girl called Sarah pulled up close to me. The girl was wearing a high school uniform. I've never heard seen before. She suddenly pulled up close and pressed her cheek against my arm. Sarah struck out a pendant with a mirror attached to it. On the mirror side there was nothing, but daughter of mine. Sarah, saying this, I stroked her hair. Since I had come this far, I decided there was no reason to hold back. Besides, all of this was a dream, and if I had a daughter this cute, what did it matter anyway? There was no reason to resist the whole situation, and I was thinking that. Okay. I'd love to go to Ninja Town. Wow. Oh, come on. Tsugumi Komachi. I could hear these words coming from a distance, the same words I used to say 17 years ago. In order to protect myself from the strong May sunshine, I had stayed inside the boat. I could see the 3 of them through the window. Ah, where's Tsugumi? Takeshi was on the deck over by the railing, talking to the 2 kids. I don't answer meaningless questions. Yes, that's what I've always kept quiet whenever he had asked me something. There was so much I wanted to talk about. I wanted to tell him about every single day that had passed these long 17 years. But for the moment, watching him innocently playing with the children was enough for me. Everything that had happened up until that point was meaningless. He was there, right in front of me, and the 2 children were there. There was nothing more I could have hoped for. I found happiness. I was immersed in it, drowning in it, intoxicated by it. That was truly how I felt. It seemed to me that all of the days filled with struggle and sadness happened for that day, that moment. Hokuto and Sarah were on both sides of him, and even when he tried to throw them off, they clung to him. I absently petted Chami, and was riding on my shoulder as I watched the scene before me. Him, Takeshi Kurenari. So live. And after saying that, he jumped from our taxi. That stupid man. Stupid man. But he had kept his promise. For the was something I had to tell. Going outside, wrapped in my 100% UV protective clothing, I walked over to where he was. For some reason, my legs were shaking and my heart was beating so fast it felt like it would burst. Being careful that he wouldn't notice the deep breaths I was taking, I went and stood in front of him. Suddenly he pulled me close, into his strong arms and solid chest. My body was wrapped in the heat, which threatened to melt me, and for one moment my heart had stopped beating. He whispered. Chammy. Oh, he's talking about Chammy. I forcefully pried myself away from Takeshi's chest. His eyes were level at my shoulder. I looked over to see what he was staring at. Chammy was busy grooming himself with the jerky movements, using both of his front paws. Sarah Matsunaga. Mama let out a yell and turning around went back inside the boat, tail wagging. She moved unexpectedly and Chammy, who had been riding on her shoulder, lost his balance and fell to his deck. Dad went chasing after Mom. Bam, wang, bam, crash, crash! A series of frightful sounds ensued. I looked over on the other side of the window and could see Mama wildly brandishing the head of the costume she'd been wearing. Oh yeah, she's wearing the lemur suit. She had one of the lemur fox monkey costumes in order to stay out of the sun. That's why she was wearing it. I could see Father's back as he was desperately trying to calm Mother down. Phil and I looked at each other and started laughing. And Chammy? He was calmly acting as if nothing had happened and just continued cleaning himself. I leaned down to put Chammy in my palm and stood back up. Mom had already told me about this little hamster's ordeal. When I thought about how Chammy had lived through the same circumstances we had, it made my heart warm. I could feel the beating of his tiny heart in my palm. Thump thump, his heartbeat was tiny but consistent. It goes without saying, but I thought to myself, Chammy is living each moment to the fullest. Someone was talking to us. Looking around, I saw... Not you. No way. Miss Tanaka nodded slightly. Hokuto asked Miss Tanaka. In saying that, she took out the newspaper that had been tucked into her pocket and handed it to my brother. He opened it up, and nestled up against his shoulder and looked at the front page headline. Liebig Pharmaceutical, responsible for outbreak of T-Plow virus? Compulsory investigation to begin in a day or two. It was learned that the T-Plow virus, TB, which had ravaged the world since 2017, was manufactured by the Frankfurt-based pharmaceutical giant Liebig Pharmaceutical. When a whistleblower from the Japanese-German joint managed research facility came forward earlier this week. Spurred by these allegations, the Metropolitan Police Department is expected to open a criminal investigation that will focus on Liebig's branch offices as well as related research facilities. Liebig Pharmaceutical has for some time been conducting research and development of TB for the purpose of manufacturing a biological weapon. An outbreak of the virus is rumored to have occurred in the research facility around May 1st, 2017. Liebig not only sought to cover up their actions, but also continued researching the TB without an authorization in the Ministry of Health under conditions of extreme secrecy, according to the whistleblower. The location of the company's research institute has not yet been confirmed. Numerous other doubts involving Liebig, including charges that have wrongfully detained citizens for the purpose of human experiments, have been raised in order to be investigated. In order to fully uncover the facts behind these allegations of reported incident, The Metropolitan Police Department is requesting cooperation from authorities in Germany, where Leibniz head office is located. Miss Tanaka took an old marker and scratched it against her cheek. Miss Tanaka smiled kindly. Just then... Hi, you. Yubasai Harukana Tanaka. And saying that, my daughter took firmly on my arm and led me over to the corner of the deck. Had we done the same to Takeshi and Coco, that's right. We didn't dare to change history, because I had made a promise to Blake Finkel in 2017. Yes, I have. And there's nothing I can say to apologize. I didn't hesitate. I told her about her father Yoichi and her mother Yuki. I told her the truth, all of it. May 6, 2017. Because Coco was sick, we had all headed to the IBM research lab. While Takeshi, the young Kabaraki, and Tsugumi were searching around the research facility, I stayed behind the examination room. Coco and the researcher were lying in the capsule pods. The researcher, who was fighting to stay conscious as the virus consumed his body. Right, he was my father, YT, Yoichi Tanaka. As he was lying there in agony, he explained to me what had happened. 2000 AD. My father was a researcher on the Leimei development project. One day, by accident, he discovered that Liebrecht was developing the TB virus. TB is a potent virus, which has an extremely high mortality rate, and Liebrecht was planning to sell it to the military buyers around the world. Father, whose sense of justice was stronger than anyone I have ever known, appealed to the company to stop development of the virus immediately. But of course they refused. That being the case, my father made up his mind. He hacked into the highly protected company database, collected evidence, and prepared to leak the information to the press. However, Liebrecht found out before he could make his move and put him in a situation he could not escape. They threatened my father, telling him, "Should you escape from here, your wife and child will probably die in an unfortunate car accident." And to my mother, Yuki, Liebrecht said, "Your husband is missing after a highly tragic accident." When making his rounds on the Leimei premises, he slipped and fell into the ocean. We are doing everything we can to search the surrounding waters, but his remains still have not been located. My mother believed them. It was the summer of my first year. Time passed and it was the year 2017. My father, who had been maintaining the computer system for IVF, was caught up in a TB outbreak. As all the researchers fled, one by one, my father stayed in IVF because he was worried about me. My father knew I was working at Lehman, and my father, right in front of my eyes, after enduring one disaster after another and gasping in pain while clawing out his throat, he struggled until the end to say, his last words. And the press only reported that it was a deadly virus of unknown origin. Even the experts had no idea where the disease really came from. However, the incubation period was very short, so even though the death rate was high, in many cases the carrier died before infecting others. But that doesn't mean there weren't victims. The number of people that the virus killed is said to have reached several tens of thousands, and one of them was my mother Yuki. It was 15 years ago that my mother caught TB and it robbed her of her life. My sadness, anger, and hatred all came together then. I swore that I would get revenge on my black. I infiltrated Leimu and at the same time started formulating a plan to rescue Takeshi and Koko, who were trapped in the research facility. And the person who helped me do that was Ryoko Kawariaki. We have spent every moment for the last 17 years preparing for this. Yes, it was the only thing that I've lived for up until now. To make Lightwood pay for taking my mother and father from me and to save my friends Takeshi and Koko. In order to do that, we need to discover the third eye, Likuvinko. Without his help, there was nothing we could do. There was no other way that we, who were living in this dimension, could go back in time. That was how the whole plan had been set in motion, all toward May 1st, 2034. After finishing my explanation, I let out a big sigh. Biting on the nail of her thumb, my daughter looked up at the sky. She looked at me. I reached out to stroke her hair. She stared at me blankly, looking just like I did 17 years ago. Reckless, full of fire, pure, to the point of being dangerous and unable to control her emotions. Her innocent eyes had seen none of the evil and corruption in this world. Looking into her eyes, I could read everything she was thinking. She wasn't mad, she wasn't unhappy, just afraid to accept the truth. She didn't know how to handle it, and was scared and embarrassed by that fact. So I reached out and held her closely. There was no need for you to say anything. I thought this quietly to myself. She whispered this quietly in my ear. I laughed without thinking and replied, Yubusei Akiko and Tanaka. Mom said these words to me. I had wanted her to tell me you are my daughter, but for some reason I didn't bother me. Another voice inside my head murmured, shouldn't you be furious? And you should slap her across the face. But for some reason I couldn't get angry. I relaxed against my mother, who held me tightly, and I could only feel dizzy from her warmth. All of my normal reactions, such as lashing out like a wild animal and my sudden mood swings, the warmth of her hug took all of that away. Mom, when it came down to it, I still thought of her as my mother. It was an instinctive itch that transcended my basic reason. It was beyond my ability to control. In the end, no matter what anyone said, the woman in front of me was my mother. She wasn't much of a mother, but to me, she was the only mother I had. And that's all there was to it. And at that moment it occurred to me, I only differ from other people in the way that I was born. Yeah, I've been told since I was a little girl that there are lots of things in this world that are hard to believe. In junior high and high school, all of my friends love to talk about all kinds of strange things. Psychic phenomena, supernatural powers, UFOs, UMAs, super ancient civilizations, urban myths, curses, fortune-telling, miracles, mysteries. I thought I had dismissed all these things as girlish fantasy, but something had now changed slightly. I mean, my existence itself was something hard to explain. If I thought about the fact that I myself, this girl called you, was somewhat of a mystic entity, with ectoplasm, mutilations, with Van Winkle, and Lemurian civilization, all of these seem like normal everyday things. Even the third eye. And while those thoughts drifted through my head, my mother quietly went inside the boat. Left by myself in the corner of the deck, I basked in the lingering warmth that remained of my skin. The boat slowly rocked back and forth as it cut through the waves. The smell of the ocean quietly wafted by, carried by the sea breeze. Soon. The kid, Hokuto, came walking over to me. Hokuto nodded deeply and said, "Oh hey, this conversation." I remember this. This was in Yu's epilogue. I told you what had been on my mind. Yu was silent. Huh? What are you, stupid? There's no such thing as a third eye. I thought for sure she would come back with something like that, so I was caught off guard by her reply. Okay. Yeah. I told her point blank how I felt, and it seemed like a reply caught her off guard. Daisuki. And Ryogo Kawaraki, because I'm crazy about you. It was 2017, I was still 15. Oh, I was stuck in Leimu in a total state of confusion, with no memory and hadn't even forgotten my name, Ryogo Kawaraki. I was 15 years old, all I wanted at that time was stability. Somebody messaged me. And as I was overcome with amnesia, and even doubts as to whether my existence would fade away. In the midst of my chaos, it was her innocent smile that helped thaw my frozen heart. I fell for her right away. All I had to do was see her smile. That's all it took. My fear disappeared, blown away like leaves falling off a tree in autumn. Although I was still uncertain about who I was, her uniqueness helped me turn my eyes away from the turmoil, instead inside of me to the world around me. Perhaps it was because of my uncertainty. I suppose that I've been grasping for my identity through the love that I felt for her. I was an empty shell at that time. Flowing into that void was her simple, pure smile, innocent and a total lack of artifice. Why, from that point of view on, for 6 days she was in my thoughts constantly. I found myself looking at her all the time. I didn't have the courage to tell her, but it was enough for me just to see her. That's how fond I was of her. I loved her. Koko Yagami. What? Excuse me. I had come down with TB, and when the rescue team found me, I had lost consciousness. By the time I found out that Koko had been left behind the research facility, a few days had already passed. When you, Yubusai Harukana, told me what had happened, I was shocked. At the same time, I thought, I've got to go save her. I didn't even wait for you to finish the rest of her story, I just ran outside. You caught up with me and started telling me about things about the third eye, the fourth dimension, the past and future, but none of it made sense. 17 years from now, you have to go back to Leimu. You return as Takeshi Kurenai. Unless we can trick Blink Winkle, so please help me. That was about what you asked of me. It took a few more months for me to become fully convinced. All I wanted to do was save Koko. If she'd be alright, I didn't mind the danger. Even if I was despised, blamed, criticized, even ridiculed, none of that mattered to me. I just wanted to see Koko smile again. Still, there was Takeshi to consider as well. I respected him greatly. He was brave enough to sacrifice his life to save the woman that he loved. For a 15-year-old like me, Takeshi was a role model. I swore that I would save Koko and Takeshi no matter what it took. 17 years later, for 17 years, you and I had spent every minute, every second putting our plan in motion. Yes, I had lived for this day. Just 6 days. Koko and I had only spent 6 days together. But in those 17 years, not a moment went by that I didn't think about her. Because I love her. That was the only reason I had been able to fool everyone. My heart leaped. She was calling to me. I couldn't turn around. I stood there frozen, even forgetting to breathe. Koko wrapped me on the head and peeked around at my face. Still calls me kiddo. Koko was laughing. The smile that I waited for 17 years to see was shining right in front of me. Oh, Sora. The smile that I waited 17 years to see was shining right in front of me. It made me dizzy to look at it. And the electronic rhythm pulsated through my body, like desert voltage through my logic circuits out of order. It was a pain that I experienced before. Takeshi lifted up Pippi and stuck him out in front of me. Oh. I took Pippi from Takeshi and started a diagnostic on him. Upset that he hadn't included me, I continued. Oh yeah, that's right. Takeshi laughed pleasantly. I can't fight it. His smile always disarmed me. It was as bright as the sun and powerfully magnetic. He could charm me effortlessly. It isn't fair. A smile should be outlawed. Takeshi. I looked away and tried desperately to regain control of my wildly racing mind, so that he would not see to my true feelings. And as he said that, Takeshi put his hand on my cheek. It burned. A lump, hot and boiling, ran from my stomach to my brain. My generator was burning too much energy, frying my processor. My logic circuits shut down. Holding Pippi firmly to my chest, I grabbed onto Takeshi's palm with my free hand. We're actually touching each other. We can touch each other, really touch each other. I had waited these 17 years for just this moment. Yep, Professor Kurenari. miracle. Kashi looked straight into my eyes and blinked. He opened his eyes wide with a start and said, Pygmalion. I slowly, quietly nodded. Just then, in came the girl with boundless energy, Coco. I quickly let go of Takeshi's hand. And saying that, I handed Pippi over to Coco. Coco held Pippi between both her hands and started shaking him left to right. He wasn't rechargeable kinetically, so that shouldn't have done anything for him, but... I exclaimed this without thinking as I realized something. Coco and Takeshi both turned to stare at me. Oh. Coco lifted Pippi above her. It was burning in his navel. I stuck out my finger and zeroed in on his belly button, and I firmly pushed the button. His motor started to run and I could hear the faint sound of something oscillating. Pippi's eyes came to life. Just then, Takeshi broke out in laughter. I smiled from the bottom of my heart and nodded. The world is full of strange and wonderful things, isn't it? A discussion about Pygmalion and keep it simple. Keep it simple. Oh yeah, those were the words Takeshi said. Neither of those should have been on my terabyte disk. Huh. Oh, yeah. Pippi left from Coco's arms. And wagging his tail fitfully, he raced across the deck. Making a racket, Coco chased after him. The deck was overflowing with quiet sunlight and cheerful laughter. Looking up, there was the sky, the blue sky that continued without end, stretching out in all directions. Coco Yagami. I was chasing after Pippi. I didn't know why, but that's what I was doing. It was probably just something fun to do. Pippi ran across the surface of the deck, like it was flying. Suddenly, Pippi stopped. Just when I thought he wasn't running anymore, he looked up at the sky and started barking at something. I lifted him up. Still, he wouldn't start barking, so I followed his gaze and looked up into the sky. And there was... me! Right in front of my eyes floated the outline of my brother, who I loved dearly. Well, it wasn't something I had seen, rather I'm seeing it right now. Right now at the moment, Coco's looking at you. She cries out suddenly with an elevated expression. Oh, they're holding hands. The first people to arrive are Hokutan and Tsugumi. Coco points at you. She wanted to tell everyone that you've arrived. Tsugumi takes off her hat and squints her eyes against the sun. Hokutan is... A smile covers his whole face and he jumps around until people start to dance. Next, Takempion shows up. No Chemi on Sarah's head. Mayo jumps up on Takepyon's back, and soon everyone shows up one by one. Sora, Nakyu's daughter. And Nakyo and Kiddo. The boat was suddenly crowded with excitement. Coco's waving her arms wildly, hoping, praying. Right then, I, Coco, was looking at my brother. Right then, I was looking at the world where Coco existed. Looking down on it with both of my eyes, I was sure of it. If the moon is only there because of your belief that I will be there when you look for it, then it was possible that I am here, and they are here, only because we believe that we are here, and that we are here. The world is here now. I am here looking at the world. I'm here looking at myself, looking at the world. How far do I go? I don't know the answer, but there are some things I'm sure of. I am seeing now. I'm being seen now. You are seeing now. And you are surely being seen by someone. And, oh! Yes, save data. That was amazing. I love that. That was awesome. Actually, I'm gonna replace it with a happier version of Karma right now. Oh, that was amazing. Wow, wow. That was a good epilogue. That was amazing. I loved it. Anyway, like I was saying earlier, remember 11. That is the next thing I'm gonna do. That is the next thing I'm gonna do. Maybe not so soon. Actually, I might do it soon. I don't know. I have to decide. But yeah, that's the next thing I'm gonna do. And yeah, overall, I love Ever 17. It was good. Whoa. Was it as good as Fujikoshi's 999 Virtuous Last Word? It'll be a bit unfair, since this is a standalone, and his Zero Escape series is kind of like it's a series, right? But it's not finished yet. There's still a third game that still needs to come out, and it's not come out due to like problems and stuff. But for right now, I say yes, Ever 17 is better than his Zero Escape series. But overall, I'm guessing his Infinity series is much better than his Zero Escape series. I see the Zero Escape series as like a spiritual successor to the Infinity series. Though not as good, but more gruesome and actual gameplay elements like puzzles in it. But still, I enjoyed them both. I enjoyed his 999 and I enjoyed his Virtuous Last Reward. And I enjoyed Ever 17, and I probably will enjoy Remember 11. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. Not special. I always like to look at the wallpapers. You know, off screen. Huh? There's still stuff I have to unlock. That is so weird. Cool. Yep, this is new. I like looking at the pictures. Let's see, I think that was all the new art that I unlocked. Oh, this one too. Okay. I'm guessing... Wait. Shortcut, right. There's a... Right, there's an epilogue for this, right? Pretty sure. And I'm just gonna have it skip, and I'll cut to when there's an epilogue. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's all in German. That was it? Wow. What did that say, even? Interesting. No, I mean, I want to go... Now did I unlock everything? No. I unlocked this, though. Well, that's it. That was Ever 17. All of it. I mean, there's probably some other scenes I haven't seen, according to this. Yeah, there's one more scene. One more scene. One more scene. One more scene. And I'm not sure if it's in Coco. Yeah, I think it's in Kids Room or something. One more scene. But anyway, that was it. Ever 17. Like I said, for the millionth time. That was good. That was good. That was interesting. I loved it. Well, see you all later. For Remember 11. Probably in the future. Much later. Oh yeah, and now I can look at all the differences in the Xbox 360 version, because apparently there was a lot. Like, in the future, Tsugumi wears a different dress. Because, why would she wear the same dress from 17 years ago? I guess that's why they changed her dress in the Xbox 360 version. Yeah. Anyway, goodbye. That was it. Yeah. Shoot. No, done.